right. Everybody, good afternoon. It is the end of the month. It is Friday, the 31st of May, and we're here to deliver some somber news, but it's been expected news, and that's that our great brother, Shawn Butler, has passed away, and that happened about an hour and a half ago this afternoon. I received a phone call from Robin, his wife, and with us here today are Sarah Van Tyne, Tony Owens, Sean Kingery, Ed Roberts, and Russell Hill from Fixed Ops Marketing. Welcome everybody, and Ed, this has been quite a roller coaster that we've been on here with Sean for the past year and a half.
It has been, but one thing's for sure is he never gave up, and he kept looking forward and kept working and kept doing everything he could do and sharing the message. And if there's anything that any of us can do to carry on his legacy, is we can continue to develop young people and give them opportunities to make something of themselves. And but right now we also need to be there to support his family. And
Absolutely.
this is a trying time for them for sure. Even though they knew it was coming, it's still nothing you can prepare for when it finally happens.
Yeah, Sarah, it's been you know not just the emotional journey, but also you saw Sean in August last year when we did the pop-up event when he stepped in to co-host that, and I saw him earlier this year up in New York. But Sarah, his physical condition had really withered, and there was just so much going on there.
As Ed said, he was such a fighter, and his passion for this industry and his passion for people resonated throughout automotive and really throughout the world at large. He was so passionate about being an inspiration and helping the next generation, and really anybody to inspire them. And he used, a very unfortunate circumstance with his health to spread the word that it's important to look after yourself. We have to take care of each other and take care of ourselves. And so Sean had a lot of courage in sharing that journey with everyone and being so open and honest with what was happening to him. And I know he'd be very honored that we're all gathering here this afternoon to share this with everybody.
Sure, Joe Chambers joining us as well, and all of Sean's friends. By the way, we are live. You're welcome to come in on the chat, everybody. And some very sad news this afternoon that Shawn Butler, our great friend, has passed. And Russell, I'm curious, how did you meet Sean? How did you first come about crossing paths with him?
Man, I met him about same time I met Ed and Joe on Dave Floyd, Fixed Ops Mastermind, the height of COVID. And it's like this guy was just like a nonstop. We developed such a close relationship. And Joe had an event year before last, the first Service Drive Live. And that's where I got to actually meet him in person. And we connected right away. He actually, you're working for the Umansky Group. He became a client as well. But I got really, really close to him. We have a lot of the same history together with drugs, substances and stuff like that. And that's where we really developed our connection and passion. And just like he was always positive, always upbeat. And he was really particularly close to a couple of people on my team, Leanne and Charity, because they worked with him. Plus, he was on our WTF too. The same message that Sarah was talking about. And that's, if you notice something, get checked out. Because I remember when it first happened, as I'm sure all of you did, but we kept in real close communication. As a matter of fact, he even prompted me in the early to go to the doctor and get physical, and I did just to be sure, because I know I look like a young spring chicken, but I'm not. And but it is sad. Yesterday, Robin texted me in the morning. And I got pretty emotional because I was just really close to him, not just from a from a friend, like all of us. He impacted so many lives, and to watch him deteriorate the way he did, but his positive attitude and his outlook remained unapproachable. And I don't even know how he did it, but he did it. And I heard before we went live, Yeah, it is sad, but it's I want to remember some of the things where we celebrate his life too, and the impact that he had on all of us. And Robin was sharing with me that uh, she didn't think he would make it, even through Sunday night, and here we are, and doing it. She said he's going to do it Sean's way, and Ted also mentioned this, and Sarah did too. He waited till the end of the month to close out the month, and he closed out the month. And but we're talking not a couple, not a handful. We're talking thousands and thousands of people. All of you out there have some kind of relationship where you remember something very distinct. And we may not always. What I remember about Sean, I don't always remember all the conversations we had. But I can tell you one thing that is unchanged, and that's the way he made me feel. And it was awesome.
Shawn Kingery, you and I were chatting about that he would probably wait until after the end of the month. And Robin said this is about the time that he would typically go home on a Friday afternoon. And Shawn Kingery, that's when it happened.
Right. Ted, we've been talking all week, and obviously we all knew this was coming. For those that Ted and I had a conversation with Robin, I don't know, about a week ago, whatever it was, week and a half ago, as things were drawing to an end, and she was looking for some advice and some encouragement. And we obviously gave it to her, and we helped her, and we talked, and we went through the whole thing with her, and was positive. And it's funny. It's not funny, but Ted and I spoke to Sean. We'll say it was a month and a half ago, talking about the celebration of life in September, about him moving that date. And, thinking, Sean, is that the best thing? And, he was hell-bent he was going to make it to September. I think he knew, because there were some comments that were made that Ted and I talked to, offline about too. I think he knew, but I got to tell you guys, for those that knew him, to his point, there was, Sean was always positive, and I shared some of the texts that Sean sent, even most recently, as of 2 weeks ago. It wasn't about Shawn Butler. It was always about me. It was always about other people, always about Robin, always about his family. It was never about him. Ted, you were nice enough after I had my heart surgery and I was in Iowa at my ex-brother-in-law's house recovering. That special, Sean didn't make it about him, and it was supposed to be about him, but he doesn't ever do that. It was always about somebody else. So, yeah, you talk about a dear friend and losing somebody. I mean, obviously, we're all going to say it, that he's in a better place and there's no more suffering, but we lost a good one, guys.
Yeah,
we definitely lost a good one.
Joe Chambers, in true Shawn Butler style, he waited to the end of the month to have all this happen.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he did. And closed out another one. And, it's a shock. It shouldn't be a shock, but it is, because he was such a fighter. And, Sean hit it on the head there about Sean always caring about somebody else. Every time I would talk to him, we talked a lot. Every time I would talk with him, he would stop the conversation and say, look, stop talking about me. Stop doing all this. It's like, how are you doing? You don't seem right. What's going on? Blah, blah. And he hit it. I mean, he hit it. He cared. And the success that the care that he gave us, and the success of Service Drive Live and all of that family, was a lot of it was due to Sean. And we're at a loss, but blessed to have known him.
Yeah. Tony, I thought you had a great quote the other day. I don't know if you want to share that with the group.
Well, you were talking about the best practice award he recently got. And I said, well, his whole life was a best practice. And it certainly was. Such a great man. It's hard for me. Everybody knows I went through some adversity, with 7 surgeries, and got addicted to pain medication, and I lost everything I had. I was living on the street. I met Sean on LinkedIn, and I became friends with Sean, and he virtually, him and God gave me the will to get through this. In 17, I could not be where I am today without Sean. I just can't be. And it's so tough.
Yep. Chris Butler in the chat with us this afternoon. Chris, our heart goes out to you and your family. We lost a great one, and he made us better, though, Chris. He made all of us better. Sarah, you worked with Sean some years back. You mentioned David Blackburn. I don't know if you want to share some of that.
Oh
but,
yeah.
yeah, he talked about how he worked with you.
You know, those were incredible times. And Shawn, you know, when I text David Blackburn earlier, I knew that would be one of the people that he would want to know as well. And Shawn had always told me, you know, David Blackburn was such a big mentor to him in his career. And we worked together, you know, as you mentioned, Ted, at Scott Clark. And Shawn, you know, when I came into the organization, I first started in the internet sales department, you know, building out their internet team. And, you know, it's kind of funny now to say internet sales, right? Like that's everything. But, you know, the service BDC was not yet even built. And right at that time, that was about the time that Shawn came into the organization too. So we both had arrived at Scott Clark around the same time frame, and building out the BDC. He was along that journey with me. And, you know, David Blackburn and I, you know, he was one of the service managers, and he was critical in making that operation as successful as it was. And, you know, Shawn, he was always so impactful to the team. You know, service advisors that would come in and they'd never been in automotive before. He was always such a positive influence. He was always, you know, a customer favorite. Customers just loved Shawn.
Yeah.
They always wanted to, you know, he had his group of people that would, you know, he'd write his tickets for. And it's just, yeah, he was an incredible person. And it's been an honor too. I mean, Ted, to have him involved with the roundtable, and, you know, again, just being that for inspiration in the industry. Shawn leaves a big shadow to, and big shoes to fill.
You know, we're all here together. We all have a lot of vested interest in fixed ops, everybody here on the screen. And, you know, the commonality here, of course, is our great friendship with Shawn Butler. Ed, I want to come to you for some leadership advice. Throughout the time I've known you at Mozart Ford Lincoln, you have dealt, because you have a very large number of employees, you've dealt with a lot of employees. There's been grief, there's been loss, there's been different circumstances. I've heard of you, you know, visiting at the hospital with folks and consoling people. Ed, what advice would you give us, you know, having lost our great colleague here?
This is a low point for everyone that's been tightly connected, especially his family. And in those moments, we don't see another side, and it's up to us to help everyone see the other side of this and help carry on what Shawn has taught us and what Shawn believed in and what Shawn was doing. And it's tough to look past that, but that's what he would want, and that's what we have to ask ourselves: is what would Shawn want us to do? And he'd want us to make sure that we're healthy. That's one thing that he learned from this. Then also, he wanted to give people opportunities because of the past that he had. Now he overcome them. When you overcome adversity, you want to help others overcome adversity.
That's right.
And that's our challenge, is to carry that out. And it's not that Shawn is gone. It's that we have to carry on what Shawn can't carry on himself anymore.
Yeah. Russell, that adversity, Shawn, Tony's spoken about it. I know Shawn made that a big part of his message as well. Talk to us about that and coming back from adversity.
Well, when we just, he was so transparent. I mean, he's like an instant friend. You feel like you can talk to him. And we were outside during the SBL. We had a break, and we were talking, and you know, people that know me know that part about me too. And it's unfortunate that, at least statistically, the level of substance abuse that we were involved in, I mean, it wrecked our lives. And there was a point in time where we were talking, I remember, and we, you know, it's not anybody, it's my problem. It's not anybody else. No. It affected every single person we encountered in some way negatively because of our addiction. And we were really blessed and grateful and humbled to push through that, because unfortunately 80 to 85% of the people are not willing to do what it takes to come out on the other side. It takes a lot of work. And you could see it. It's real evident in people that are, I see it in Tony now that I know that part about him, where people want to give back and they want to help other people. We realize that whatever it is we have, we can't keep it unless we give it away. And that really solidified our in-person and how it started. And we continued to talk like that for the next, couple of years until not too long ago. And Sarah said something earlier that I noticed, but I didn't really put it together until he would automatically want to turn things around and talk about you and want to know what's going on with you.
Yes.
How's the
Yes.
family? How's this person? How's that person? How you get here? No, Shawn, no. I want to hear about you. Anyway, he was just that guy. And it is a large industry, but this is not really. It's a very small family. And the imprint that he left is we need to carry that legacy. He was positive. He was upbeat. He was willing to go the extra mile to help somebody struggling, and and he didn't really want to really talk about himself except that the physical stuff. If you notice something, don't wait. Don't wait. Go get it checked out and be 100% sure. That yeah. Thank
Joe,
you.
I noticed that about Shawn a lot. He would turn the focus, Joe, from the conversation from how he's doing to saying, Ted, you don't look that well. Okay, you a little tired. He would
That's
change the whole complexion of the whole thing. I'm going,
Yeah.
wait a second, what are we talking about here, Shawn?
No doubt.
True.
I remember a very specific conversation I had with him. I was in my office and I was looking out the window at the shop, and I was stressed beyond belief. But I was asking Shawn, and he said to me, "Joe, stop. What's going on? How can I help you? What's your problem?" And I just stopped everything and listened to him, because you know what? He was helping me, and that's what I'm gonna miss. I'm real. And you talk about legacy to carry on. We have to think outside of ourselves, and that's what Shawn Butler excelled at. He always thought of others first, and if there's a legacy, that's it.
Tony, you hit the nail on the head, and you even said that it would happen after the month was over. And Tony, we haven't heard from Shawn in a couple weeks. We used to get those video updates, right? And then we stopped seeing him, but he was still doing the video updates. But there's been a big void, Tony, in our lives. I don't know if you want to speak to that or not.
Well, a very big void, but Ed's right. It's our duty to carry on his legacy and continue to do what we do to be a light for other people, like Shawn was a light for us.
Yeah, no question about it. He's impacted so many lives. Shawn Kingery, a lot of folks in the chat today, and he made the comment that those chats were very important to him. So if you have a message you'd like to leave for Shawn, everybody, please put it up. And Shawn, you related to that as well when you had your surgery last fall.
Yeah, we were talking about it when we did our special for him a couple of weeks ago. And Michelle and you put all that together when Jalissa and Kathy and John and everybody was on there. Yeah, the prayers helped. I mean, obviously that message watched as I was recovering, which again, Shawn always made it about me. I watched it 5 or 6 times. I watched it again the other night. It's amazing. And I say that because as Ed's in the center of the screen here, every one of the illnesses I've had, Ed's been one of my first phone calls, obviously. And you guys, that means a ton. I want to share. Everybody's got stories, and I get it. I won't betray any trust on what Robin had to share a couple of weeks ago with Ted and I, but they knew it was. It is what it is, and Shawn knew it was coming. But that was on a Monday or a Tuesday. But either way, Shawn sent me a message just real quick. It says, "Man, I love you, brother. You're the best. If there's any way I can help you, please don't hesitate to ask. Have a wonderful weekend." Guys, that was a Saturday before Ted and I took the phone call from Robin. And Shawn knew it was time. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm safe to say that. He knew it was time. I think he was ready by some statements that were made. And that was the last text I ever got from Shawn. But Shawn knew, guys. Shawn knew that his time was going. But that text wasn't about Shawn Butler. Out of nowhere, he reaches out and says, "Man, I love you. If there's anything I can do for you." I mean, listen, that's few and far between.
Totally.
Sarah, he went to work every day.
Yeah.
We saw that, when he traveled up to BG with me and last August, that whole trip, just for everyone, just to share the story really fast, Shawn was not in the best of health. He was really having some challenges at that time with mobility, with getting around. And he flew from Virginia to Dallas to then Wichita, Kansas. And he was there, sun up, we're ready, we're filming. He's helping everyone in and out. He's like, okay, they're finishing this up. We got to be quiet. Hey, Sarah, Ted texted this, and hey, this is, what's up next. And I mean, he was so involved. And meanwhile, he's going through this immense personal battle, and he is just wanting to pour into everybody else. And so, like everyone has said, he was always such an inspiration in how much he cared about others, and just his strength and perseverance, through everything that he was going through. He always, he never thought about, this is, poor me and my circumstance. He always was very much like, how can I prevent others from experiencing this? If I can share my story, if I can make a difference in somebody else's life, then it's worth it to me that I made that difference and that contribution. And so, and honoring his legacy and just thinking of him, just to remind everyone, as everyone has already said, we have to look out for each other. And this network right here, as Russell said, we're a really close knit group. Shawn, Ed, Ted, everybody, we're automotive, and we care deeply. I think that's the common thread that we all share. We care a lot about each other. And so, as Shawn said, it's up to us to keep showing up for each other too now.
Yeah.
And Sarah, what you did mention is that I was not there at that event, and you were on stage, so it was tough to text you or call you because you're on camera the whole time, right? So, the other crew, they're busy doing the filming and whatever, taking pictures, and the only person I could go to, Sarah, was Shawn Butler to find out what was happening. Okay, and I said, "Hey, tell me what's happening down there." Right? I'm not getting any news, right? And sure enough, he was. He was aware of what was going on, and some of the banners were misplaced. And I said, "Move this one over there." And he's like, "Okay." They told me I can't text with you anymore.
Well, and he even, we had some challenges getting there. The whole reason you weren't there was because there was a massive storm system. And when Shawn and I were flying back from Wichita, we were trying to make our connection in Dallas. Both of us had different flights. I was going to Charlotte. He was going to Virginia. And both of us are hoofing it through, W, trying to make our connections. And he, again, he didn't even think twice. The first thing that he texted me as soon as he got to his gate was, "Hope you made it to your gate okay. I'm safe. I'm at my gate. Safe travels." He wasn't thinking, that's just who he was. He was always thinking about everybody else. And so, and Ted, he was thinking about you in those moments too. I mean, he was always giving you the updates and helping to keep everything on track.
Ed, it says a lot, his work ethic, but that was his life plus his family, Ed, his wife, his daughter, his beautiful children. And he leaves behind a great legacy. And you're right. We got to help carry that on. Ed.
Well, think about the consistent message that we're hearing here. It wasn't about him. He never made it about him. The message that he preached was always go get yourself checked out. And when he talked to each and every one on the call, it was always, how are things going with you? And that may sound simple, but he had a hole that he could have climbed into and not worried about anybody. But he was concerned with people all the way through because that was his DNA. And he lived his life all the way out the way he wanted to live his life. Now it's our opportunity to help him continue to live further.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Shawn, there's going to be a lot of work ahead because all of us have contributed and, helped his family and him in one way or another, financially, otherwise. But Shawn, I think, maybe that real world is the real work is starting now.
Right. You and I have talked a lot about it offline about, the GoFundMe account and again, Robin shared some of the challenges, not just the medical bills. I mean, for those that don't know, the air conditioner went out recently. They had to put a new roof on their house recently. Guys, all that piled in the last 30 to 60 days that nobody was anticipating. Everybody knows, and again, this is not about Kathy and I, but Kathy and I are getting married here in, I don't know, a month or so. You guys, we want to make sure those gifts all go to Shawn as well now more than ever. I mean, I'm not going to go my Jerry Lewis telephone thing here, guys, but listen, Robin's going to need help, and Robin's got a family. We all know that there's a young daughter there. I know he's got some older children as well. But I can tell you that Robin wasn't out blowing that money. Robin wasn't out doing it. It was a sincere endeavor by him to make sure that Robin was taken care of. And again, one of the other things that Robin shared with Ted and I was he was more worried about going to work this last 2 weeks because he wanted to make sure his life insurance stayed intact, guys. And guys, he knew the end was here. I can't stress that enough. It was all about making sure that he could take care of Robin, knowing that he was going to leave. And I know I've said it over and over. What can you say? I mean, it leaves you speechless to know going out. That's what it was all about.
Joe, a lot of good friends of ours are on here. I see Jeff Daniel, Jamie Alexander, this fella, Corey Smith. Congratulations, Corey, on all the success that you're having. Joe, a whole lot has come out of this fixed ops community.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the people on here, just like you said. And the wild thing is that a lot of us are on here. Obviously, we're all on here because of Shawn, but he touched everybody so much. And that fixed ops community, you know what? We are a family, and we do know what's going on, and we do share a lot of ourselves on a platform, LinkedIn or whatever, that really wasn't designed for it, but we kind of molded it. And
Yeah.
Shawn really lived that, especially with his weekly messages to all of us to make sure that we take care of ourselves. And it was consistent in his message because he doesn't want us to take care of ourselves for us. He wants to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves for our families and our loved ones as well.
Mhm.
So it's inspirational.
Very much. Russell, your thoughts?
So I was sitting here reading a text that he sent me not too long ago as I'd check in, just letting him know I was praying and thinking about him and his family and seeing if he needed anything. Typical Shawn. Thanks, Russ. Hope you had a great week and taking it easy. You're appreciated beyond measure, and I'm thankful for you and your continued success. And did you work out the sale of your company yet? It's like, there he goes. We're putting it right back on me. And that was probably too much information, but yeah. It was always that way. We can all relate. It was always that way with him. Not occasionally, not once. This was every time. He was always asking about family, how are things going? How's this going? How's that going? I tried to talk to him about him. Part of it, particularly towards, he didn't want to. He wanted. No. You couldn't deflect him. He wanted to keep it positive. He wanted to keep it about your health and family.
Can I give a shout out to somebody who's in the chat? This young lady here, Michelle McLean, has done so much behind the scenes for Shawn and his family and a lot of things that we are working on right now. And Michelle, I want to say heartfelt thank you because you've come up with some great out of the box thinking, and it's been amazing. And between you and a lot of the things that you've done, the things that we've delivered to Shawn's home, and the things that you've done online and otherwise, we're very grateful to you, Michelle. So thank you for all those hours of support. And I think our work, like I mentioned with Shawn Kingery, is probably just getting started. We talked a little bit, Shawn Kingery, about that GoFundMe page. We spoke with Robin recently about maybe updating that and making a couple changes, but we've left it the same because there's been quite a bit of money raised, and we want to let people know, that money has gone to a good cause, and now we're going to be focusing, more on the family as well.
Right. I know there's some concerns, and there's been some comments made that, do you restart it? Do you start it over? Does people see the dollar amount and worry about, well, they don't need any more money? Again, I bring up the roof, I bring up the air conditioner. It's more than just medical bills. And don't forget, as we all know, our health insurance policies are great in this country that we live in. Anyway, that his deductible started over January 1st, guys. So everything that he had last year, he had to start back over January 1st. And quite frankly, I lived the same thing. I get it. That deductible starts over. So all these bills started piling back up again. Robin has a burden on her shoulders today, but she's got a burden now for a while to worry about. Shawn was the breadwinner of that family, and now he's gone.
In our closing minutes here, everybody, again, the sad news this Friday afternoon that our great colleague and friend Shawn Butler has passed away. Sarah, somebody mentioned to me that how can he be going to work? Because we heard recently, maybe a month or so ago, maybe longer now, Sarah, that he was on hospice, right? And they said, he's on hospice. He's not going to work. I said, no, he's going to work. And he's driving, many hours on Monday to get there and many hours on Friday to get back. The traffic was a lot, and he's living in a trailer during the week, and he's on hospice and he's going to work. Sarah, I don't know anybody else. I've never heard of somebody doing that.
It just again is a testament to him and his passion for people. You know, he took care. He was there with his family when he needed to be with his family, and he was there with his team when he needed to be there with his team.
Yeah.
And you know, he wanted to be part of both worlds. And so, you know, again, he put aside his own comfort and in anything that he was going through to make the minutes that he had left matter to everybody else. And so I think, you know, it just speaks to his character. It speaks to who he was. He wanted to share his light with everybody in the world, and he was going to be there no matter what. And you know what? He traveled back and forth, and here it is, end of month. You know, he goes out on Friday at the end of the month. So
Ed, so Robin, his wife, was at his bedside. He had been home in hospice. Then he was confined to the hospital bed at home last week, maybe part of the week before. And then on Sunday, he went back into the hospital because there was just so much care round the clock that was involved. And he went back in, and Robin was by his side from early in the morning, 6, 7 in the morning till midnight. And Ed, she said to me that, you know, he's hanging on, okay? And he keeps talking about, you know, he's not, you know, coherent, but he's mumbling things, and it's about work, okay? And he's talking about, you know, is that one? And he's talking about these things, and we heard a couple days ago that, you know, there's maybe more only hours left, and then she and I spoke yesterday, Ed, and she said, you know, I think he is waiting for the end of the month. Okay. And here we are, Ed. So
That's what we do in the car business. But let's look at her for a minute, and this conversation shifted about what the family needs are, and let's look at that a little deeper. Like you just said, he had to go back in the hospital on Sunday because it was so much, and it is. We get updates daily. How Shawn doing? She's there with him 24 hours a day, and there for him to be with him if he needed anything. She is exhausted. That's why I had to go there on Sunday. And I may be saying that as it's a relief. It is not a relief by any means. She is just as strong as he is, and she was there for him all the way through. And he knew it, and that's why he was having those conversations with her, because he knew that she would carry out whatever he was asking.
closing thoughts, everybody. Just a quick lightning round to kind of close out. Anything you want us to remember about Shawn or think about on this day? I'll start with Russell.
I just want to say, Robin, you and your family are loved. Shawn talked incessantly about you and your family, and we're here for you, not just in words, but also in deeds as well. I don't even know how many people are here with just short of notice, but the amount of people. Let's remember, especially sometimes when I get in a pity pot about something, and somebody says, "Well, what about Shawn?" I mean, how do you do that? We need to live life to the fullest. This is the only day we have. It's the day that counts, and it needs to involve other people and lifting other people up, loving them where they're at if we have to, whatever it is. But that's the mark that he made on me. And once again, your family is loved and appreciated.
Russell, thank you. That was great to speak to you on the phone yesterday.
Yes, sir.
You know, we haven't talked every day. Okay,
No.
so this brings everybody together. Tony Owens, your thoughts? Anything you want to share about our brother?
I just want to thank Shawn for helping me be me. And he changed my life. And I will live my life the way I live today because of Shawn. And I thank him so much for that. And I love him and I love the family. And anything they need from me, I will always be there. It makes no difference what they need.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Tony. Joe Chambers, your thoughts?
He was a good friend. He was a great friend, and he'll truly be missed. And I think that we need to use this platform and the faces on this program right now reach a lot of people on our various platforms. And I think that we need to come together and, like you said, Ted, and do what we can for Robin, because as Ed said, she needs it now more than ever.
Yeah. And Joe, looking out into the near future, I understand there's going to be a celebration of life that's planned. It's still planned for September. So, Joe,
Yeah.
Russell, I'll see you guys there. Tony,
Yeah, we'll
okay?
definitely be there for sure. So
And you're right, and they need our help now. Sean Kringer, you and I have talked about that. Any closing thoughts?
You know, I'm gonna, Jed, if you don't mind, I'll use Ed's leadership comment. You know, you got to follow what Shawn did, and I think it's all very, very important to remember or think about what Shawn's message was to go get tested. And I don't think any of us know how many people have done that because of his message. And Ted and you and I used to wait. Ted and you and I both did, quite frankly. But how, we all waited for that Friday video message from him. And again, it was never about Shawn. It was about, if it doesn't feel right, it isn't right, and go get tested. And you got to wonder how many people or how many things have been found because of that, by the way.
Yeah, that's very true. Great message. Sarah Van Tyne.
I think everybody, grief, it's love at the end of the day. That's what grief is. That's why we feel the way we feel. It's really because of the impact that person left on us. And, Shawn was an incredible person. He left a big mark on a lot of us. And so as we're all thinking of him and the family, just remember, in our grief, at the end of the day, it's a reflection of the love that we had for him and have for him. So with that love, remember Robin and his family. That was his passion. He loved his family. He loved them dearly. And so it's up to us if we can find any way to help each other and help his family. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah. Our great friend David Lucas out in Australia is with us here. Good morning, David. And, so sad to deliver this news. Ed, do you want to bring it home?
So we talked about quite a few things, and I will state this, that leadership is about influence. It's about the influence you have on others. And I think in the conversations that we've shared here, Shawn certainly have influenced us all. With that, we certainly have to put things in perspective, because we let things get to us that have no meaning to them. And I'm not pulling out the word I'm looking for there, but what I'm meaning is tomorrow we get to wake up and go live our life, and he does not. And so don't let those little things pull you down. Put things in perspective and be a Shawn Butler and influence others.
Great message, Ed Roberts. Want to thank everybody today. Want to thank everybody watching and listening. Tough to deliver this news. But it is, what it is. So Shawn and his family need our help. If there's any way to donate, fixedopscares.org goes directly to Shawn's family. We're going to keep that up. We're going to keep talking about that. And like Michelle said, don't sweat the small stuff. And like Ed said, life is too short. Sarah Van Tyne, Shawn Kingery, Russell Hill, Ed Roberts, Tony Owens, Joe Chambers, Service Drive Live. Everybody, thank you. Very grateful to all of you for all you do for
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
we'll tag everybody in this video, and it's on YouTube, and it's on Facebook, and it's on LinkedIn. And thank everybody for your heartfelt prayers, and we appreciate all of you on this Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.